Tak vítejte tady u dalšího videa, který tady mám s Markem Bauronem. Bude takový krátký rozhovor a uvidíme, co se z toho všechno vyklube. Takže, hi, so could you like introduce yourself to all the people in Czech Republic?
Yeah, first hello from the United States. I'm Mark Bauron. I live in North Carolina. Was born and raised a very modest life up in Michigan in northern United States, where it's very cold. Moved down south for the warmer weather and a greater economic opportunity. And I'll have to say, I believe one of the reasons you're having me here is to talk about, for me, what I consider the American dream. And frankly, I came from nothing and become a self-made millionaire. And in America, I believe if you have the right motivation and the right persistence, you can achieve it. So I'm Mark Bauer. No one's spectacular, pretty typical, except I believe in pursuing the dream.
Exactly. So I prepared a couple questions here, and so like you said, you grew up pretty much like I did, just with no money.
Correct.
And a lot of ambition. Would you say that?
Very competitive.
Very
I'm
competitive.
the youngest of 8 children. So
Yeah.
my parents, good Catholics, and I'm a 7th son. But I was the first one out of the 8 children to graduate with a college degree. A lot of love in my family growing up. You know, when we talk about money and wealth, it doesn't always reflect love. It can become burdensome not to have money. But I grew up in a great family. But raising 8 children in the 70s, you can imagine, was difficult. But the opportunities were there for those of us that pursued it. So all of us took on jobs and that when we were young, and paid for my own college education with just my dad co-signing on a house I bought there to help me get through school.
Right.
Yeah, I grew up on a dirt road, small house, always shared a bedroom. We had 1 full bath for the family of 10.
Right.
And so, 3-minute showers was the rule. But
Yeah.
it's pretty easy for boys, though. It's
Right.
pretty easy. But
Right.
yeah, that's how I was raised.
Awesome.
But definitely was encouraged to pursue my own pursuits, all of us were, and to chase our dreams, whether they're financial, family, or any other dreams you might have.
Right. So what do you like? How do you get from that place to somewhere where you're right now in this just beautiful house? Like, how do you get from that place to here when?
First, you have to have a belief system that's possible. I believed, I can't remember where it started, but from infancy, I guess it would be from what I saw on television, and then maybe when we went out, which my circle, I didn't go more than 5 miles away from my house.
Right.
Much at all until I was a teenager.
Right.
Because with that many children, it's hard to get them all together to travel. But from television, I'd see how people would live, and I make jokes about Magnum P.I. because it's a character in a story in America where he travels to Hawaii and becomes a private eye and all this. But he wore a Detroit Tigers hat. Detroit's from Michigan. And there I learned if he can do it, possibly I could do it. So I had a belief system that you could change your life by pursuit and education. And that's what I did, and I would say it takes time. There is no get-rich scheme, but there's definitely, if you're persistent and you have values, and you pursue those beliefs and those values, you can accomplish it. So I think what separates me from others I grew up with is I had different priorities. They're not right or wrong, but if wealth is your goal, you got to make it a priority, and you got to have a belief system, and also surround yourself with people that support that belief system.
Right.
And I believe that we're all given God-given talents at birth, and we're all capable of doing whatever we choose, God willing. And so I pursued it, and we'll get into more details about what I believe the pursuit is. But you have to believe that you can change your status, and I've never in my life had a doubt. Surrounded by people that did have doubts. We call it blue-collar people in America, where they just believe they can never get out of working for someone else or becoming wealthy. It's a system. Some people don't believe they can do it. I've never had a doubt that I could do it, and my father also never discouraged me or told me that I couldn't do it. And also great mentors, coaches, etc. Told me I could always be a champion, and as long as you believe it and you pursue it, I believe it'll happen.
It's all possible.
Yeah, it's all possible.
With hard work, right?
Yep.
So what does your typical day look like right now? Before it was probably like education. You were just studying, probably not hanging out with people that go partying all the time.
Yeah.
But
I did party a bit, but the thing is time management is crucial. So since you brought it up, I did party. With time management, you need to know when to party and when to work. So a saying that you might be familiar with is play hard, work hard, or
Right.
work hard, play hard. I believe in that. But if you're disciplined, you won't play that much, because really the joy you get in life and wealth, that is a game in of itself. So, and also playing hard doesn't have to involve alcohol or drugs, or recreational drugs. Sometimes playing hard is doing a deal to make
Right.
wealth.
Right.
And if you enjoy that and you don't make the life separate, that you make your play life part of your work life, I found life to be much more enjoyable. So I was fortunate. I got into the insurance business in the United States, mainly property and casualty, paid my dues, started at the bottom after I graduated college, and made sure I excelled in every job I took, to the point to where I'd embarrass others because I wanted to be the best in it so I could get promoted. And
Right.
today I'm fortunate enough, I'm a leader, part of the executive team of a large insurance agency, and there I get to influence, be more of a visionary of where we're going to take the agency, and also attract those that are on board with our vision. So a lot of what I do today is network, build relationships within my industry so we can provide the best service possible. And it's competitive. In order to survive in America, you have to add value to others. You can't just go out and beat the competition, but you got to be of value. How do you separate yourself from people and become a value? And that's how you, as far as being employed and getting business outside of investing, because investing is very important to creating wealth. But in order to get your first dollars, you have to make sure you're of value to others, because they have choices and you want them to choose you. You can't be average. Average, you'll always be average wealth-wise. If you want to exceed on wealth, you have to be competitive and add value more so than others. And when you're young, that usually means putting in more hours also, because you don't have the
Right.
wisdom you have. So I'm fortunate at my age, near 50, I've gained a lot of experience, and so now I have wisdom. That's why I can be more of a visionary. When you're young, you have to have an idea of what you want, but you don't have the wisdom yet. So that's why I've been fortunate. I've had great coaches and great business mentors that have helped me gain wisdom, excelled, and now I apply it. And now that I've got 30 years industry experience, I can apply that and help others, and whether they're my age or younger, help them be successful from what I've learned.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned work hard. So I hear this all the time. Like, you got to work hard. But what does working hard actually mean? Does that mean, like, you got to work 15 hours a day, or what does work hard really mean?
Yeah, work hard to some might mean, getting on the assembly line and putting on the bolt for 20 hours. That's not what I mean. Working hard to me is working smart. Having your priorities of the reason you want to be the best at something is so you build your own brand. We all as individuals have a brand, a public image we have to grow. So working hard is also working smart more so. So when you do take that first job, you want to excel at it. The reason you want to excel at it is so you get a reputation for your brand. And when you have those, those 40 hours a week to work, you want to make sure that in those hours you're putting effort towards accomplishing what you were told to, but then also networking and gaining knowledge within the industry by being around those that are able to help your career. And I definitely, to be clear, I was not an entrepreneur. I didn't create a business. I was always an employee, but I excelled at that, and then eventually got enough wealth to invest. And when you're investing, you're really paying your future self, and that's very important, to pay your future self. To save money, invest it, and on your own time, not on your employer's time, research and meet successful investors and learn how to be very good at investing.
Mm-hmm. So
But working hard is not hours. It's never hours.
got it.
Working hard is being persistent and working smart, and the hours will be necessary, but the goal is not to work a lot of hours.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be clear.
So you said that you're an employee. So I just want to get this quickly, just a small question out of the way. So what does a job for a guy like you look like in the United States? And
Typically the day starts 8 o'clock and ends at 5 o'clock. In the white collar world, if you're in the shift business or manufacturing, there'll be shifts, but typically it's a 8 a.m. to a 5 p.m. Job. Most of what we do in the white collar industry is communicate via email. Zoom or teleconference is very popular during current times, but most of it, and prior to the lockdowns caused by the pandemic, we would have meetings. I'd usually have 3 meetings a day, and often we would have breakfast meetings, lunch meetings, and dinner meetings. Something less popular today is building relationships through golf. We don't golf near as much as we used to because actually technology has made us all do a lot more work than we used to. So when I first entered in the industry, believe it or not, we did not have email. I did less deals back then than I do today, because now everyone expects instant gratification. When they send me an email, they want a response within 24 hours. When I started in the industry, it was all snail mail. It was, you put a stamp on it, you put it in the mail. People didn't expect a response for 2 weeks. Today they expect it within 24 hours.
Right.
And if they text me, they expect me to respond immediately.
Right.
So times are different. I am doing more work and less networking, such as golf and dinners, but it's still enjoyable. It's part of the game, and we're still creating a great company, me and my team.
Right. So do you in this job, do you have any people that are under you, or do you work for someone there's nobody under you?
Most of the businesses in America are very lateral, to where everyone does whatever it takes to get the job done. So in mine, I do have a few employees, and then I have one direct report, the CEO and the head of operations. And then under us, or with us, I should say, because it's about 500 people total right now countrywide. I did work for 2 larger organizations that were Fortune 500 companies. One had 35,000 employees, and in a large bank that'll go unnamed had over 100,000 employees. So I have worked in very large organizations. There are benefits there. You can learn a lot, but it becomes very bureaucratic, very political, organized, everything's political, but just more so. Yeah, it's more so. It's fun working and building a small organization. That's why I am where I currently am, because I'm able to build something, have my fingerprint on it, and
possibly bigger gains long term.
Yeah, much bigger gains because we have ownership also.
Right.
Yep, since we're on the executive team.
Right. So if someone from the audience wants to, is going to see this video and they're going to think, well, I want to work for that guy because he has employees. So what do they have to have as qualities, or what do you look for in a person if you would be hiring, if that's something what you would do?
First, I need to know that they can follow through in something. So I do value a college education. It's not, the education does matter, but what that shows me is an individual that I don't know. Hopefully they've been networked to meet me. I do believe in networking, that your best job opportunities are often through networking. Because people will interview well, and I've hired these people, but they don't work out well. So when someone gives their endorsement and networks to help someone get a job, it's very important. But back to the individual, what can they do on their own? Prove that you can follow through on something. I don't want to hire someone that has a different job every year. I understand if you're in the service industry and you're paying for your education, that's not what I'm talking about. After you get your education, if someone's jumping around every year, which is somewhat common, but to someone of my age, I don't want to hire someone that's only going to stay with me a year. I want a 3 to 5 year commitment. I want someone that's on board to build something. Why do I think education's important? I know there's some public speakers out there who say don't go to college, go directly to create your own YouTube channel or whatever. Yeah. They're not hiring people. They're talking about entrepreneurs. And I do understand there's some entrepreneurs that don't need the 4-year degree. But if you most people on this planet are going to be employees. And as an employer, what I'm looking for is someone that can prove that they can get a 4-year degree. What that says to me is, for when they did get an education, but it shows me they can start something and finish it over a marathon, a long haul. Everyone can do a good sprint. And that's what the no education thing is. It's just get in there and wheeling and dealing. But if someone takes 4 to 5 years of their life to be dedicated and follow through and get an education, that tells me that I can trust that when I give them a 1-year project, that they'll follow through and finish it. Right. That's one reason I look for people with education.
Got it. And so what qualities would you say that you look for in a person? Correct.
The number one quality I look for, because I'm in sales, obviously besides intelligence and all that, that's a given for most, but it's competitive spirit. I won't hire anyone. If I ask them, this is my favorite interview question is, how do you feel when you lose? So I'll ask you, how do you feel when you lose? You don't have to answer that.
No, yeah.
But I noticed I look for a physiological expression. I don't really care what the answer is.
Yeah.
Because the worst answer for that is, what do you mean?
I hate it.
Yeah, if people don't understand
That's
what
my
it is,
answer. I just hate it.
yeah. If people don't understand what it is to lose or to win, they should never be in sales or in marketing or in anything where you're trying to, and all of us are in sales and marketing ultimately. Every product has to be sold, right?
Right.
So you need to have a competitive spirit and a joy of winning, and also appreciation of losing, in that you're a good sport, and you also learn from losing. So that way it'll help you be a better competitor in the future. So I look for, the number one trait I look for in employees is a competitive spirit. I don't want someone that's just like, oh well, didn't get it. Yeah. That's not going to help the organization. You have to have some passion there.
Right. So it's like you gotta take the L on the chin, get it back up, and see what you can do different and better, and deliver better too.
And I don't look for someone to win every fight, because I don't win every fight.
Right.
But I want someone that will be always in constant pursuit of winning more fights than they lose. Right. And also not burning bridges, being tactical. And there's the famous book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. A lot of lessons in that book are what I teach my employees. I want someone to be very strategic and not win just for win's sake, but to win for longevity. And you don't want all your competitors to hate you. The best way to beat your competitor is to beat them like a champion, which means you don't put their face in the mud after you beat them. You want your competitors to talk well of you. So when they lose to you, you're like, damn, he's better than me. Right. You don't want them to say he's an a-hole because he beat me and he's talking bad about me behind my back. That's what happens when you win that way, is people resent you. And what I've noticed in business is people that resent you will give up all their revenue. They'll do everything they can to beat you out of spite. And that's just not a good way to compete in the marketplace for the long haul, in my experience.
Right.
I believe that's the old winning the battle but losing the war. My goal is always to win the war.
Right. You can lose a couple battles, but as long as you win the war, that's what matters.
Be focused on the big picture. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So you mentioned the book, The Art of War.
Yeah.
So I know you're a big proponent of the book, The Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah. It's my assigned reading to every new employee that's under, say, 35.
Right. And you recommended that to me, and I'm almost finished with that book too. And I can see a lot of the parallels to your life from the book. And so the book essentially is about building wealth, right?
Right.
So what do you see as wealth? Because a lot of people from the audience would consider you wealthy or rich. So what's the difference between being rich and wealthy?
Well, for me, the most important thing is health, period. Nothing's worth anything if you're not healthy. So you got to take care of yourself. The physiology of your body and your mind is key to everything, because otherwise money doesn't do anything, because you won't be happy unless you have that. But what I consider wealth, I think I achieved it about 10 years ago, is when you don't have to work for someone else. It's called financial independence. So I consider myself wealthy because I have financial independence, to where today I could retire, but I won't retire because I love the game.
Right.
I love pursuing just growing wealth. It's fun. And also helping other people be successful, helping family or whoever needs it. But the pursuit is the game. But I consider wealth when you hit that marker to where you could literally just live off of the returns of your investments. So that's why I consider myself wealthy, and others that can say I don't have to work for someone else. But I have entrepreneur friends that have, through the insurance industry, that I've insured for decades. Let me tell you, these people are worth 4 or 5 times me, right? They could retire 10 times over. They have 1 or 2 children, so they don't need to work for their education or to help their kids be successful, because they could take care of 3 generations today. Right. The sole reason they're still working is the game.
Right, you gotta love the game.
And you might not ask, but I'll say, how much is enough? There's a saying I heard. It's been coined to Rockefeller, but I don't know if certainly said it, but I'll give it to Rockefeller. Yeah. How much is enough? Just a little bit more. Right. Because of the pursuit of the game. Stay hungry. Right. And but I do consider myself wealthy, because today I could work for myself, not be part of a team. But I choose to work with a team because that's the game I like. I like working for a team in the insurance industry. Right. And that's my passion, and I enjoy it every day. Right.
So how does a person, like you were a person like everybody who watches this, or 99% of people who watch this, or even me, how do you get from growing up on next to a dirt road to having this office that looks like from a movie?
So
how do you get wealthy?
Yeah, so for me, this is land opportunity. I do believe anyone can come here and become wealthy because, again, first we're all God-given talents. We were given a gift, a miracle, basically. What I did at a very young age is...
So before you finish this, I just have a follow-up question. Do you think hard work beats talent?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen talent pissed away. Right. Yeah, it is frustrating because you meet these individuals that you know have more talent than you, but they're missing the discipline. And I'll give you my 3 Ps. Before we start, yesterday I told you about my 3 Ps. And these are pocket conversations you can have with anyone. But for me, this pocket elevator conversation, how to get wealth, is you must know your purpose. So we're talking about wealth today. So one of my purposes was to create wealth, be of value to others, whatever. So that was my purpose, is to how am I going to gain wealth? The second P is persistence. You will never get anything in life that takes time to get without persistence. So you must be regimented and disciplined to be at it every day. And my third is perfection. Now, I believe no one is perfect. No one will ever be perfect. But the pursuit of perfection, other word, maintenance. You must have a maintenance plan. Think of it as a house, a car, anything. You must take care of it. So your physiology, your health, but also when you think of your purpose and your persistence, you got to have the perfection in those. So I'd like to give the example of the blacksmith in the 1900s, right? Everyone had a horse and buggy. The blacksmith was great, right? But there's 2 different blacksmiths. One believes he is in just the horseshoe business. The other believes he's in the transportation business. So one will obviously fail when the Model A Ford automobile comes around. The one that believes he's in the transportation business, he's going to have that pursuit of perfection. He's going to change because he's in a maintenance to his business plan. He's going to change, right? He's going to start selling tires and then get into other things. And that's one thing I believe. So through my life, I've made errors in investing and made errors in my career, bad relationships. But I've known my purpose, so setbacks are nothing because my purpose is greater than a setback. And I've been persistent, right? But I haven't always stayed in the same path. I originally thought I was going to make most of my wealth one way, and you change. And that goes to the perfection. As you get wiser in life, you changes. The people you surround yourself with. I'm sure a lot of you probably had friends 5-10 years ago that you no longer talk to.
Right.
And some of that, I hope, is because you're trying to better your life, and those people were no longer bettering you. Whether they're bringing
100%.
negative energy to your life, or whether they were bringing drugs and alcohol abuse to your life that you didn't need. And you can help those people, but if they're not willing to help themselves, move on. So part of the perfection is always reviewing your purpose and how you're being persistent and making it better, knowing you will never be perfect, because none of us are perfect in God's eyes or in each other's eyes, especially, right? You're always going to have naysayers in what you're doing. So, but pursue perfection in your own beliefs in order to achieve your purpose. And you can have more than one purpose, but today we're talking about wealth creation. So I knew I wanted to create wealth. So my persistence was staying at it every day, literally measuring my wealth periodically and looking at how I could create it. So education was the first thing I did when I was 17. I never had debt. That was part of my plan. And going to the millionaire next door, managing debt is critical, and staying away from depreciating properties.
Assets.
So buying a new automobile is probably the worst thing a young person can do. It might seem glamorous, but at the end of the day, nobody cares about your new automobile. And if they do, they're shallow. Buy something that helps you get to where you're going to generate your wealth and move on.
So,
and houses is a good investment if you're going to stay in an area, stuff like that.
right.
And always living beneath your means. So if you're earning $20,000 a year, make sure you're saving at least 10% of that. If you're making $100,000 a year, make sure you're saving 10%, 15 if you can. If you're making $250,000 a year, you better save 20% of that and invest it, because your investments will grow. My experience is we will grow if we're investing in the market at least 8% a year. And you say, why not more? Well, if you diversify your portfolio, you'll have stocks that go down, some that go up. I mean, I'll have years where I'm up 25, but then I'll have years where I'll be down a little. You have to be patient. You're going to average about 8% a year. And please read about compounding interest. That's what's worked in my favor, is as the money grows, and at this age in my life, I can earn hundreds of thousands a year on investments because of compounding. it's very, very. We're talking hundreds of dollars when I was 22.
Right.
That I was gaining a year in my net worth.
Right.
But as it compounds, it's like a snowball effect. It gets bigger and bigger. And when you get a certain size, it gets big in multiples fast. 8% of a million is a lot more than 8% of 1,000. You can do the math. That's how it works.
Right. Right.
But you got to be patient. Yeah, and enjoy the ride along the way. Enjoy saving money.
Yeah.
You know, don't let it deter your life experience. Still travel and that, but travel on a budget. You don't have to stay at the Ritz when you're 22. You can do that when you're 50.
Right. Do you stay at the Ritz when you're 50? Because you're 50.
Yeah. I've stayed. I get the nicest. You know, I like to cruise some, so we get the suite. But I don't do it every month. You do it once, twice a year. 2 vacations a year is what I recommend. Yep. And while you travel for business, spend the extra $50 for the nicer hotel.
Right.
Enjoy life.
Right.
Yeah. So when you're in business, you can still enjoy the travel. You know, maybe stay an extended night and visit the city you're in. So travel doesn't always have to be vacation. As you get older, even when you're younger, you can when you're traveling for business, visit the city, find the joys, meet some locals. You know, eat in a local restaurant, not at one of the chains.
Right.
But yeah, travel is very, very important to me. I think it's good for the soul too.
Right. So you're 50. So what would you say was the biggest lesson that you've ever learned in your life?
The biggest lesson I've learned in life is you must take care of yourself before you can take care of others. You don't want to be selfish and all that, but you must love yourself, respect yourself before you can do it to others. I've witnessed in my life those that just give, but then themselves are shallow and unhappy. Right. I believe that our Creator wants us to respect ourselves as much as we would respect anyone else or any creature on the planet. I think I'm a vegetarian. One reason I do that is out of respect for everyone, but also myself. I want to treat my body well, not eat too much meat to pollute it. So the biggest lessons I've learned for my success and my happiness, and I'm genuinely full of joy. And I also have Jesus Christ in my life, but that's a different video. Right. Joy, spirituality, it's just happiness is short-lived. Joy is eternal. I have joy in my life because first, I have respect for myself. The way I treat others, I make sure I don't have regrets. And that's also taking care of self. But I am not so selfless that I save nothing for myself. Because I truly believe you can't help others if you haven't taken care of yourself first. Mentally, physically, financially. Right. And I think that's a great lesson I think a lot of people miss. Some people only think of self too much. And then the other extreme is they don't think of self. Obesity becomes a problem. Depression becomes a problem. And there's lessons to be learned there. That's for another conversation. But you can find joy and happiness in this life regardless of all the things out of our control. And I'll leave it with this. Related to that is please remember the serenity prayer, the lesson of God give me the wisdom to know what I can control and what I can't. And please concentrate, related to self, what you can control. And let go as much as you can of those things that can't. Because the media and the pressures outside of you, the friends you have that are outside of you, you're going to have opinions of what they're saying and that, but you have no control over them. And they only bring you down. They don't lift you up. And the more you concentrate on what you can control, the more I think you'll find joy in life. Absolutely.
So you mentioned happiness is temporary, joy is eternal, right?
Yep.
So what makes you happy?
Happiness is I love humor. I think humor is God's gift to us to deal with stresses in life. So I like telling off-color jokes. I like hearing off-color jokes. I mean off-color, not popular in culture. Right. I think something unique for your generation that my generation didn't have, I would say my generation is more the 80s, 90s, is we could make a joke about anything. It might make you sweat a little because you're a little uncomfortable, but you could say it and you would not be ostracized and condemned. And people say, don't listen to him because he told an off-color joke. This is my opinion. It's not right or wrong. So what is my happiness? It's constantly with my wife, with my friends, finding humor in life. So I think it's very important. So I think that is happiness, not so much joy. Joy is a deeper. Joy involves sorrow, love, just a mix of all emotions. but you're on top knowing that you're one with God and pleasing the world, where happiness is just in the moment. And I think humor and being light about things and just seeing the silver linings in all things in life, even though something bad happened, etc. Because out of sadness, humor does it. Out of bad things, there is humor. And but it's considered off color or unpopular at times. And I recommend everyone make fun of everything in life and laugh. So that's my happiness.
Don't take life too seriously.
Don't take anything too serious, because it's not. It's fleeting. Come on, we're here for less than 100 years or less.
Right.
Have fun, because happiness does lead to joy when it's balanced in your life.
Got it. So, you're 50 years old and you had all these like successful things happen in your life. So what motivates you to keep going? Like I know you said you love playing the game because it can't be money anymore, right?
It's
always partly money. Partly money. Okay.
That joke I said earlier, just a little bit more. How much do I want? Just a little bit more.
Right.
Because you gotta have a pursuit, a passion to wake up for in the morning. Right. If you wake up and let's say you've got your billing or whatever, maybe you won't be focused on wealth. Maybe you'll be focused on creating a new technology to better humanity or better yourself. A diet, for example, there's always a pursuit of something. A weight goal, a health goal, a bench press goal. Hit 310 last year. That's pretty exciting at my age. Weighing 200 pounds, just saying. But it's fun to do that. And also discipline goals. I challenged a friend recently. And it really helped him. He was having a drinking problem, so I challenged him to 30 days of sobriety. And I made it a game. I said, you are not restricting yourself from alcohol. You are becoming a champion and making yourself better. Think of the words you're using. Do you want to be a champion or do you want to be on the bench? Get on the field, play the game of life. And if alcohol's a problem right now, get it out of your life. And make it a challenge, a game, but find reward in it. And please don't reward yourself with alcohol at the end of the 30 days. Go 31, 32 days. The reward should never be your vice. But always pursue something, whether it's health, wealth, diet, exercise, relationships, your spouse, your loved one, whoever it is. Challenge yourself to make that just a little bit better every day. So same as wealth, just a little bit better. It's fun.
Right. So what do you do after? So let's say you have a goal of getting $1 million.
Right.
And then you achieve that $1 million. And so what do you do after? Is it like, because I'm on my way to the $1 million. You've already been there, but I'm on the way. So does it feel as good when you get there, or?
Definitely change the goal when you're near your goal. So I recently realized that one milestone that I had for 60, I hit at 50, or I'm about to hit. So you immediately when you get to that milestone, my recommendation is set another one. And don't make it too close. Right. I like to have long-term goals.
Aim big.
So back to the perfection. Aim big, but back to the perfection. You got to keep on maintenance and adjusting. Mm-hmm. And so when you believe you're about to hit a goal, make a goal that's much bigger. Not just slightly bigger, much bigger. So you have a long-term goal, because long-term goals keep you focused mentally. If it's a short-term goal, you're going to think, I can take a break because I'm going to hit that anyways, and you're not as disciplined. And you got to set bigger goals. So since I'm about to hit a milestone financially in about a year or two, I'm setting another new 60-year-old goal that is basically double of my original goal.
Right.
So you want it a little out of reach. So for me anyways, I encourage to set goals a little out of reach. Not a short-term goal like losing weight or something, but financial big goals, a house you want, just a little out of reach, so that way it's more of a challenge and more fun, I think.
Right. So what do you think the secret to success is? Do you think it's the 3 Ps?
Yeah, 3 Ps are the secret to success, but also persistence. The American dream is not wealth. A lot of people think it is. And if you read our Constitution or Declaration of Independence, what you'll see the forefathers had was freedom. So they wanted freedom. But the reason they wanted the freedom was, there's one word I want you to hear: pursue. The pursuit of happiness. So that's what it's all about, is the pursuit of happiness. And everyone says money doesn't buy happiness. That's complete bullshit. Being poor is hard and there's no happiness in it. There's love in a family, all that's great, but wealth helps happiness. You don't argue with your spouse as much when you're independently wealthy, because you obviously live within your means still. You still have discipline, but money matters. It's definitely not everything, but have the discipline to have enough to take care of your loved ones, your children, your family, pay your bills. If you can do that and save a little to pay your future self, you're going to be happy. So I don't believe in the old money doesn't buy happiness, because it frickin' does if you have the discipline and you respect it.
Right. That was actually my next question. If money buys happiness, but you think it's...
Yeah, it does.
Correct.
It does, yeah.
So I got just a couple more small questions. So what do you think, you've traveled the world, right? What's the best destination that you've ever been to?
So there's different types of destinations. There's a relaxation, and then there's the just charge your battery craziness, busyness. So I would say for relaxation, I really like the Caribbean islands because they're close to where I live. They're a 3.5, 4 hour flight. And I like the islands because you're in a small place. You can travel and visit it all. And it's relaxing. You get your vitamin D, you do some athletics, you eat really healthy, you don't get on your computer, you don't get on the television. So I do like the Caribbean for relaxation. But for charge your battery, exciting, I like large metropolitan areas. So Manhattan, New York City is my #1 city in the world. Every culture is basically represented there. The city literally doesn't sleep. I know it's in a song, but it doesn't. It's you can go out 24/7 in New York City. It's amazing. And I'm hoping after the pandemic and some better political leadership, it'll come back. It's only been down since the pandemic, but I believe it will. And another city that's similar that I loved was Tokyo, Japan. It was amazing. It's just the energy there, and it's just the cultural difference is amazing. Paris was fine. I like London better than Paris. I think London is the fashion capital of the world. I love that. But to answer your question, relaxation, any small island in the Caribbean, and for energized, Manhattan, New York City, without a doubt.
So for the travel thing, so are you excited about visiting Prague one day?
Yeah, definitely gonna visit Prague. Well, I also believe having a friend that knows where to eat, where the best music is, where the locals is. I know we're all tourists when we travel. You're never going to get away from that. Just try not to look like one. Don't wear the white tennis shoes in the fanny pack or whatever it was. That's what my generation did. They would go to Europe and they would look like ugly Americans. They'd be fat, whatever. And they would have I Love America shirts on. No. Absorb the culture when you travel, because that's the lesson learned. So I'll ask you, what kind of clothing should I bring to really fit in and stuff like that.
Anything,
Yeah. And but I want to hear the history. How you've been. Your architecture is amazing. You shared with me the Church of Bones or something like that. Amazing. I want to see that, but I want to meet the people. I want to eat at their tables. I want to drink what they drink. I don't want to drink what I drink in America. I don't want to eat what I eat in America typically. I want to see how the locals live. It'll have to be vegetarian, but I want to see how the local vegetarians live. Right. And I want to walk the streets without anyone knowing that I'm an outsider. So I like to be invisible when I travel. I don't like to be. I don't like to boast. And sorry to the Russians out there, but those bravado Russian men, holy crap! I went to Munich. I'm getting off subject here. I went to Oktoberfest, and they brought Russia with them, and I think they missed the point of enjoying the German culture and all that. They were just partying and getting drunk. But when I travel, I want to visit Prague. I want to see where the Spider-Man movie was filmed. Yeah. That's one of the first visions I've had, or times I've really seen it, a lot of Prague. And I want to go down the river, and I want to hear about the forefathers and where your great-grandfather lived and all that. Right. And to hear it from a local, to appreciate it. And visit the museums where the locals from Prague, what they built and created, just to learn. I won't learn the language because I'm lazy there, but would love to hear the stories.
Yeah. All right, so I would just end it. I think it was amazing, all your answers, and I would just probably end it with some rapid fire questions. So
one word answers.
Yeah, one word answers.
All right.
Exactly. So I got a couple here. So the thing you always wanted, and now you have it.
A beautiful house and beautiful wife.
What is the thing you want but don't have yet?
Luxurious exotic sports car, red, probably a Ferrari. And the reason I don't have it is financial discipline. And I realize having it, I'll probably after a week the buzz will be gone.
Right.
And so maybe the pursuit of it, probably because I don't have a 4-car garage and I don't have a great place to store it, so I respect the vehicle. Right. Those are all excuses. But a red Ferrari,
right.
I don't
okay.
have it.
Red Ferrari. Okay.
I could have it, but discipline
right.
tells me to hold off.
Right, right. So, one overrated stock in the stock market.
Well, you know how I feel about Bitcoin. So I would say I don't trust Bitcoin. I think
right.
it's a government, organized
right.
scam. But Teledoc, I wouldn't buy Teledoc right now. I think it exploited the pandemic. It's a great product. Everyone should be using it, but it's overpriced right now.
Okay, and underrated stock?
Boy, this is gonna blow your mind. But I think NEO. I do believe NEO is gonna be a multi-$100 stock. I think the Chinese government is gonna make sure NEO. I own it, for you to know, and to be fair. And I think it's still got 4 times multiple ahead of it. It's 55. I believe it'll go up 4 times in the next 2 years.
Right. All right. So I think we can end it over here. We got some over 41 minutes. So I think it's
awesome.
I think it's a great interview. So thank you.
Well, thank you for your interest and just stay hungry and enjoy the game and laugh a lot.
Right.
All right. Awesome.
Is that what you would leave the people?
That's why I laugh
with?
A lot and stay hungry though. You'll never be satisfied, and your pursuit of perfection shouldn't be in perfection of itself, but constant self-improvement. 100%. Definitely.
Awesome,
right.
Absolutely.
Well,
all right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
enjoyed it.
Being agreeable to film all this, and maybe we'll film something in the future too.
In Prague.
In Prague, yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we're good.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Cool. Well, that